Hello, Muroc families. Trevor Walker, Assistant Superintendent here this week. I apologize for the late video. We had some technical difficulties, so having to redo it and push it out here on Tuesday. First and foremost, when we talk about the air show, it's something we've been talking about for the last few weeks and just want to sort of recap and say where everything's at. The Edwards Air Show is happening this year, October 14, 15, and 16. October 15th and 16th are the public access days. October 14th is a STEM-focused day for students. And on that day, it's going to be schools and it's going to be parents with base access who are able to bring their students. That's it. It's not public access. And so as a district, Muroc is going to be participating. We have buses starting all the sites to bring classes. You're going to see two permission slips. The first permission slip is the one where your student's class is participating. And you're going to see three options. The first is, I want my student to participate, however, I have base access and I'm going to take them. The big caveat with that, if you do that, you are taking them individually. You're not going with the class. The second option is going to be, I want my student to participate with their class, which means you're going to drop them off at school. They're going to get on the bus. They'll be transported over to the air show. They'll be transported back on a bus from the air show to their school, and you'll pick them up at their regular time. The last option is if you don't want your student to participate, perfectly fine. They'll stay at the school for the day and do other activities. If your student's class is not participating, you're going to see a different permission slip, and that's going to be one, I am going to take my student because I have base access and I want to take them over there. Or two, I understand my student's class won't be participating. Our intent is to get everyone to fill those out. That way we can see and make sure we really plan accordingly for who's going, how many students are going to be staying at the schools, and how many students are going to be transported. Now, as a quick reminder, as we've said a few times now, what we have done to ensure that as many students as possible can get to the air show, we have changed October 14th from an early release Friday to a full standard day. So elementary gets out at 2:15, high school gets out at 3. If you do have base access and you do take your students to the air show, and you filled out all the paperwork, they will be counted as in class that day as a school-sponsored activity, and even though you are taking them and not part of the class, they will still receive attendance credit for that day. We want to get as many as we can over there. I think it's a great opportunity, a lot of STEM activities. The one option we didn't talk about, sort of the secret menu item, is if you were interested in going with your student's class. Just as we've always had for field trips, to go with the field trip, with the class, you have to already be a district-approved volunteer. So there's two ways about that. Either you already are a fully approved volunteer, which means you've done your fingerprints and all that, or we're told right now the fingerprint queues are pretty short. So if you go right now, fill out the paperwork, get fingerprinted real quickly, there's a good chance you can get approved as a volunteer prior to the air show, and then most likely, it depends on bus capacity, either you'd meet them at the air show or coordinate something like that, and then you'd go with your student's class. Always happy to have parents go along and have volunteers, but just as a safety measure, we want to ensure that we've vetted them, they have their fingerprints, they're safe, just as a matter of being cautious. So we understand a little bit of a hassle, but we just ask for your patience and understanding and ensuring that we do everything we can to make sure our students are as safe as possible. Next thing I want to talk about is the federal impact aid cards. There was actually a Facebook post here very recently, I'm told, that actually talked about this, which was great. We're about to send these out. These cards go out on October 5th. That is tomorrow. We're releasing this video today on October 4th, and I double-checked to make sure I got my dates right. Please make sure you fill out that form in its entirety. And please make sure you date it October 5th or 4th. Those cards are there to offset the fact that Edwards Air Force Base primarily, though there are a couple other federal facilities like the federal prison and some other entities, all of those do not generate tax because federal entities are exempt from tax. And as a way to offset that revenue loss to schools, because property tax goes to schools, instead, the federal government has this program, which is called Federal Impact Aid. So they go by how many students are basically part of that impact, and then the district receives funding, and it's there to basically recover the tax that the district does not get because of the federal installation. The information is simply, we use it to gather accounts. It does get audited very frequently, so we have to ensure they're filled out. So please be looking for that. It should be in your student's backpack come tomorrow afternoon. Please fill it out, send it back. It is very important to the district to ensure we maintain all of our programs and allows us to continue expanding things like accelerated programs, advanced placement, things of that nature. So please fill those out. It's very important to the district to ensure we have the funds to do as much as we can. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to the school sites. What it is, it's a blue card this year. It is a little different format. It's a full page. We actually have changed it from prior years to make it a little bit easier and a little less confusing, hopefully. That is a downside of these federal forms, is they can be a little bit confusing. So there's a new version. We're going to use that new version. Hopefully it makes it a little bit easier. Again, if you have questions, reach out to the school sites. Please make sure they get turned in as quick as possible. We will follow up if we don't have one for each student, and each student does need to fill one out. So if you have 2 or 3 students, you're going to get 2 or 3 cards, and we need to get 2 or 3 cards back because it is 1 student and 1 card. And as always, we will try and talk to you hopefully next week on time on Monday. Have a great rest of your week.